Hello everyone, I thought I'd show you what Draftr can do. To do that, I'm going to use Draftr to show you what Draftr can do. And everything you're about to see are things we actually use. It's kind of structured in the way that I think, if that resonates with you, fantastic. If it doesn't, well, maybe it's not for you. But let me show you what's in here and, maybe you'll find some of it useful. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's flip across. So this is the Draftr main page. And if we go into lists here, let me show you, let's go into the Draftr sort of main list in here. This is the kind of let's just make this smaller here for you. These are the main functions in Draftr as it stands at the moment. Where are we at the moment? I'm just moving that to try and center it for you. We're in Q2 26. So there's a lot of work going into this, but this is where we sit today. This is what's actually we use on a day-to-day basis in Anistic, my carbon accounting company, just to help us be more productive. And I hope it's sort of useful for you too. I've grouped them into about 6 different categories of things that Draftr does. They're all aimed at reducing admin. That's my main thing. I hate admin. This is what this is about. It's reducing the admin load for you, make you more productive, make me more productive, and make the business more efficient. That's the name of the game. So if you look at the functions here, I've split them out. Where's the best place to start? Why don't we start here? So we've got email management, this sort of thing here. We'll just start with what you're looking at is one of the tools in here. So if you go into workspace tools, you get all these tools across the top. This is the lists function, and I use it just as a kind of a doodle pad, and you can have lists and sublists and group them and stuff like that. So if we look at this one here, email management. So let's have a look at that first. Let's just move that out of the way. So the email management one here, Draftr drafts replies to your emails for you. That's kind of useful, but because it knows about your business, the replies are tighter. They're more to do with your products and your prices and your staff and your etc, etc, etc. So the difference between this and what your Google and Microsoft do is that this knows about your business. So it kind of gives you a tighter response. Email triage. Well, email triage will allow you to pull up different lists and sort your emails into lists. Depends how organized you are with your email. Some people find it useful, some people don't find it useful. But, personally speaking, I quite like it because it means I can filter out the wheat from the chaff, and see what it is I really need to concentrate on. And task tracking. So it looks through your emails and maintains a follow-up list of things that you've asked people to do and saying, well, hey, look, can you send me the such and such? And it's kind of kept a track of that so that you can see it at a glance and say, well, look, what is it that I'm waiting on people to do effectively? And that's the task tracking. I think the task tracking, to be absolutely frank, can be a bit better. So it gets things wrong at the moment. A fair whack, how about that for honesty? But we're working on that. We're working on everything in here, really. But, that's getting better as Draftr learns more about me. There's a learning function behind all the agents. So as it learns more about me, it gets that better. I think it's got a bit of space to go on that though. But anyway, that's the sort of task tracking system there. What else we've got? We've got calendar management. That's kind of just useful, isn't it, really? I get a meeting pre-briefing. Let's go down through them one by one. Before every meeting, about 20 minutes before the meeting, I get a meeting sort of summary saying who the meeting is with, guilty as charged. That's sometimes useful. What the background email trail is to that meeting. So you can say, well, look, here's the kind of background to it. Who the meeting company is with. So if it's with if it's a sales meeting, it's quite useful to see. It kind of shows, this is their LinkedIn stuff that they're doing. This is the company's house stuff. And it kind of tells you this is a big company or a small company, etc, etc. That's quite useful. The meeting scheduler is one of these kind of Calendly things where it says if you want to book a meeting with me, send me a note, sort of click this link and it will allow other people to book meetings into my calendar. I use that multiple times per day. It's just useful. Again, same with the online notes taker. Nothing sort of revolutionary there. There's lots of things that you can get, AI systems that tap into the meetings that you're doing online. This is the online meetings note taker that does the same thing. I think the actual kind of summaries it produces are pretty good. Actually, we've put a lot of work into getting the actual summaries good and the follow-up. Task tracking, that's good as well. So, if people agree different action items in a meetings, it's pretty good at pulling those out and adding them into, remember this list up here, this task tracking list, putting it up there. Okay. So that's the calendar management. Let's talk about the productivity tools. There's a bunch of tools built in. These are just useful things. I mean, everything on this list, I've actually cancelled subscriptions to other software that I used to use to do these things. Genuinely, and we've saved a bit of money by doing that. So we've got a lot of money, in fact. That list of productivity tools is growing. There's 2 big things that we're adding into it, which is the CRM. That's under development at the moment. If you look on the site, it says, beta. We're still kind of working on that, building that out. And the link to a finance system. I'm not sure Draftr will have its own finance system in. We'll see. But at the moment, we link that into Xero. so that, you know, so you can just pull in all of your Xero stuff. And these are things that we use again right now, right here, right now in Anistic, just to kind of help us manage things. So let's have a look at the productivity tools briefly. You got lists. That's what this is on the screen at the moment. You can just, you know, add new ones, edit, etc., like, you know, new item. So that's kind of demonstrating itself, isn't it, really? So, you know, that's just a useful kind of let's just get rid of that. That's just kind of a useful list function. Kanban, if you're into Kanban boards, you know, where you can just set columns and swim lanes and move cards around, like kind of virtual sticky note things. That's quite nice, quite like that. Project notebooks, again, there is some other work to be done on that just to make it a bit slicker, but it's quite useful at the moment. So you can open up a notebook and, you know, kind of have it in text blocks. It produces what's called .md markdown files. Very portable, very downloadable, and you can take your MD file to other places. But you can also insert into your project notebook other things. So it's got kind of live blocks that you can insert into it, organization charts. You can insert into it sketches and stuff like that. So it's a good way of keeping things together. Sketches, we use this an awful lot. If you want a wireframe or a quick diagram of this, that, and the other, then the sketches function kind of really makes that super useful for you. It's designed to be simple. It doesn't replace things like Canva. It's not designed for that. But we used to use Balsamiq. And Balsamiq allows you just to quickly sketch things. This does the same thing. Gantt charts, if you're into project planning, etc., then Gantt charts are a good way of looking at that. I don't like them. I don't use it, but I know other people do, so we put it in. Just never found a good useful Gantt chart. Flowcharts, as it says on the tin, you know, we do use this. You know, so if you want to sort of map out processes, etc., then the flowchart tool is it's designed to be super fast to use, so you can get your ideas down. And the same with mind maps. Is designed to open up, allow you to think, allow you to be more productive, and communicate that out to other people. All of the tools there are team tools, so you can choose to have them as private lists, or you can share them with the team, and they're also multi-user, so as one person's editing it, the changes are reflected for all users. That's quite sweet, quite like that. That's productivity tools. Let's have a look. Where should we go next? Office stuff. It's all, as I say, this is just basic admin, but it's just so useful. Who's in and out of the office? That's a kind of a nice visual way of saying who's in today, who can I expect to see, what faces can I see around, and who's sort of working remotely. Again, it's just useful. Org charts, same deal. Who reports to who? For smaller companies, do you know what? Probably not as relevant, but as companies grow, you know, I think Anistic's about 20 people at the moment. You know, the largest companies, well, I've had larger companies than that, and they become more useful as you grow. So that's kind of the org charts. Staff directory, simply is just a quick way of looking up what's the mobile number of XYZ, what is their email address, etc. Standard operating procedures, almost like cheat sheets, so that if you've got any ideas about, you know, how do I do this, how do I book holiday, how do I such and such, you can either ask Alex, you know, pull up a chat and just have a chat in there, and Alex knows everything I'm talking about now. Alex can do that, or, you know, you can just look in the standard operating procedures. How useful are they? Not so sure. I think probably good when new members of staff start, you know, point them, but I mean, most people, once they've been in the job for a couple of years, know what they're doing. Company files, same deal. Where can I find the such and such? It's here. All right, pure admin stuff. Let's have a look at that. I might just expand that over those like that. So we've got holiday requests and holiday allowances. They're in the HR manager at the moment. I think that's one of the ones over here. Where is it? Up here? I've gone the wrong way. HR there, the HR manager. And the HR manager up there will allow you to book in holiday, see how much holiday you've got left, report absences. Also does document signing, so that if you want to send documents to someone and say, look, you know, click here to sign, you can do that. And commission claims. Again, we use that all the time for just salespeople claiming commission, simple as that. And that works, they work really well. So quite like those. Last one is the, you know, keeping me informed. Let's just make that bigger for you here. And let's move it down here, shall we? So keeping me informed, where you've got the company dashboard, that just, you know, as a founder, it just shows me kind of what I need to focus my time on, you know, what's going on, what's not going on, and stuff like that. Daily briefings, they're useful. They're sent at the start of the day, kind of saying, hey, Daryl, this is what you've got planned today. These are the meetings in your diary. These are the main things. You know, Alex, kind of the main agent here, the PA, Alex will ask all of the sub agents what's going on. So they'll ask HR, what does Daryl need to know? They'll ask finance, what does Daryl need to know, etc. And that's summarized in this daily briefing. It's quite useful. I like it. And then alerts, as I say, what I need to know, Alex keeps an eye on the other agents for you. So you can just kind of reset the size of that just to make it all neat and tidy. So, Alex will try and figure out what it is that you need to know and filter out the noise from the information. That's the main game. All right, so that's what Draftr does now. There's lots of work going into Draftr, and as we hit more things, we're adding more things in. There's a lot of work going on at the moment on finance. As I say, we do interface into Xero and QuickBooks, and we're just trying to get that a little bit slicker at the moment. And we're also working a lot on the CRM system and on the outreach, so that one of the things we use this not just in anything, we use this for Draftr. So everything you're seeing here is kind of like eat your own dog food. We're using it for Draftr, and the thing we need to do with Draftr at the moment is increase our outreach. So we're doing a lot of work on the outreach tools in there as well. So look, I hope that was useful for you. Let's just flip that back. That's what Draftr does. That's what we're about. It's all about making smaller teams and founders a little bit more productive and a little bit more efficient, and just taking out that admin. That's what we're about. That's what we're trying to do. And if it's for you, give it a shot. We'll see. Hopefully it resonates. And if you've got any feedback, all my details are online. Just, I'm always listening. I read every email that comes in. If you have any issues, or if you have any suggestions, or you think, what happens if ... let me know. And if we can help, we certainly will. All right. See you next time.